Today we get to launch a brand new sermon series here at Journey Church. And if you're unfamiliar with sermon series, they're just really a collection of talks that are designed to kind of be one main idea to inspire you. And we've been taking a break from series for a while, just kind of been preaching what's on my heart. But honestly, all the while that I've done that, I've had this series on my heart. This message series has been on my heart for a little over 4 months. And I can't remember the last time I've been this excited to jump into a series. It is a series on the Bible. The title of this series is called If the Bible is True. If the Bible is True. And I'm excited because you're not just going to learn, you're going to be equipped. We've got a web page up called journeyorl.com. Here's the address, /Bible. Made it super simple for you. /Bible. We don't just want you to be encouraged from the Bible. We actually want you to learn how to study it. And so we've got resources. You like how I said that? Resources, not resources. Resources. We've got them on the webpage, and they're going to help you if you go to this webpage. We've partnered with thebibleproject.com, and they're going to help you dive deeper into your Bible. This is not just a book. There's more to this, and we don't want you to just read it, and we want you to enjoy it, but we also want you to grow in it. And so in addition to what you hear here, you're also going to hear and learn and develop more tools and skills. On that webpage, I want to encourage you to go to it. I want to give you the story behind if you didn't know who I am, I just kind of skipped over. I got lost in worship, but this might be your first time here and you don't know who I am. My name's JJ. And thank you. And if we haven't met yet, that means you're a first-time guest. We're so glad that you're here, and we want to take time to pause to welcome you to church today, because you might have been invited by a friend. Yeah, welcome to church. Amen. Keep it going for Journey Church Online, y'all. Journey Church Online, we love y'all. If you're a first-time guest, we're giving out free Starbucks gift cards. Just text that number right there. Put it up. I know I didn't prepare you, but this is how you get it right there. Free Starbucks gift card if you're a first-time guest. If you're not a first-time guest and you text this number, lightning will strike your body and your Starbucks order will be wrong. It's my prayer, if you're taking advantage of the system, that your order would come back wrong every time. Going into the message today, I'm going to give you the story behind the title. You might not know this about me because I'm a pastor, and that automatically makes you assume that I'm a good person. But growing up, I really wrestled with rebellion, like all of us, but more so. I was one of those kids who consistently questioned authority. I was very skeptical about everyone and anyone who tried to teach me something, even at the ripe young age of 5 years old. At 5 years old, I remember sitting in my English class, and the teacher was trying to teach me that the vowel A could be said in 2 different ways. It could be pronounced a or a. And I remember arguing with her, saying, not at all. There's no It's a as in apple. And I stood up in front of the class and I said, I don't think you know what you're talking about, ma'am. There's only one way to say the letter A, and it's a. Pronounce it. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to prove it to you. Why don't you take yourself over to the principal's office? And I did. And at that point, my parents had enrolled me in a Christian school, and she had also signed this form of sheet that allowed them to perform capital punishment on me. So when I went to the principal's office, she said, why are you here? I said, because there's only one way to say A. And then they showed me I was wrong, and then he put me over his knee, and he paddled me with a paddle that had holes in the paddle so that the friction of the air would not slow that paddle down as it went down and hit me on the butt. And so thanks, Mom, for traumatizing me. And so that was me. Anybody else like me? You just question everything and anyone, and who are you to tell me? And I remember growing up at a church, and I went to a Christian school, and the teacher would always teach from the Bible. And then at church, the pastor would always have the Bible. And then at home, my mom would always talk to me from the Bible. So I'm like, you know what? Forget all y'all. If the Bible is where you get all your information from, then I'm going to just go to the Bible, and I don't need anybody. Because if this Bible is true, then I'm going to just go there. And I'm going to get everything from there. I don't need, but I'm going to find out what the answer is. And I don't really think I was on the research for rebellion, but I do think I was on the trail for truth. Because a part of me knew, like a part of you knows, that if you discover truth, you don't just discover truth, you discover direction. That if you discover truth, you don't just discover truth, you discover instruction. That if you discover truth, you don't just discover truth, you discover a foundation, right? And I think we can all relate because we live in a day and age where people are hungry for truth because there is mass misinformation wherever we go. Everybody has information, and everybody is talking about information, but few people share the truth because most of the times their information come from a biased place. If the Bible is true, here's what I realized. If the Bible is true, and here's the title of my sermon, I got to study it because if the Bible is true, everything changes. Everything changes. Society is starving for truth. You want to know what the truth is. And I just want to say, if the Bible is true, and I want to say if, not because it is a representation of my beliefs, because I believe that it is, but it's rather a recognition that not everyone believes the same thing. I understand that there might be people in this room today who disagree. The Bible is not true. It's maybe just a story made up from people. That's cool if you believe that, and I'm not going to try and convince you of that yet, that it is true. But I would like to rally around one idea that I think we can rally around whether or not you believe the Bible is true or not, and that's this, that what we believe is true changes everything. That's the title of my message. If the Bible is true, everything changes. Everything changes. Your life changes. Your finances change. The way you do relationships change. The way you do friendships change. Everything changes if the Bible is true. You know, I can't remember the last time I was so excited to preach a message like this, but I also can't remember the last time I was so afraid that you would be really bored to listen to a message like this. Because I think a part of you came to church today and was like, I didn't come to church to learn. I came to church to be changed and transformed. I want to see God make a difference in my life, which is the crazy thing, because the same reason I'm excited is the same reason why you might be bored. Change. Because I believe that this book has the power to change your life. That if you engage in it and use in it and learn it, and that it can absolutely transform everything about you, because what we believe changes everything. The problem is that change is primarily viewed as a behavioral thing. And so we want to change. We want to quit smoking, or we want to be less stressed, or we want to be better with money. But what we fail to see is that in the same way, every action is first conceived as a thought. Every behavior is first born as a belief. Underneath every behavior is a belief. And so you say you want to change a behavior in your life, but what you really need to do is find the belief that that behavior rests on. And if you change that behavior, you can change that belief. I'll prove it to you in a quick story. I remember growing up and about maybe 5 years old, still living in Brooklyn, my grandma's apartment. She didn't have a lot of space, so my cousin Phil and I, we shared this one bed. And whenever we shared that bed, we would always mess around at night, go leave the bed and hang out and play and stuff. And she told me one day, I was 5 years old, she said, JJ and Phil, she said, if you guys leave the bed, I just need you to know something. I said, what? She said, the Bible says there is a man that lives under your bed. If you grew up in a Spanish family, you know, you've heard this before. There is a man that lives under your bed. And if you get out of the bed, this man will grab you by the ankles and take you to hell. I'm pretty sure she said it just like that. Y'all, I was terrified my whole life. I remember being 5 years old, having to use the bathroom, thinking, nope, I will swallow it. I'm not going. And then when I really, really had to use it, I remember getting on the bed and just being like, trying to build up some momentum, and I was like, because she told me there was a man under the bed, but she didn't tell me how long his arms were. So like, I just got to out-jump him, and then he won't be able to get me. And then when I went back to bed, I was like, but how am I going to get back? And I remember getting a running start and doing like an Olympic long jumper back onto the bed. And that might sound crazy to you, or you just laugh at it and you go, oh, that's good, silly old 5-year-old. But what you don't know is that at 15, when I already knew it wasn't true, I would still jump off my bed and jump onto my bed. I realized I did not have a behavior problem. I wasn't trapped in a behavior. I was trapped in a belief. Many of us today are trapped in a belief about ourselves, trapped in the belief about our potential, and we wish that our behavior could change, but you have to understand and identify the belief that is on the bottom of that behavior. You're trapped in a belief about who you are. You're trapped in a belief about your potential. That's why you won't ask that girl out, because you don't believe you have the potential to be with someone like that. That's why you won't try out for the team, because you believe you don't have that potential. That's why you always give your body away in every relationship that you get into, because you are trapped in a belief that the only thing you have worth of value is your body. But what you don't understand is that your body is not the only form of economic transactions that you have. There's something more valuable about who you are than what you can give to someone physically. And you wish you could change that about your life, but it's not a behavior that needs to shift. It's a belief underneath the behavior that needs to shift. Your beliefs can keep you trapped in a behavior. Not only can your beliefs keep you trapped in your behavior, your beliefs can not only keep you trapped in, but they can also keep you from. My wife has been working out. Pastor Liz, let me just say, in front of everybody for the first time, girl, you look good. You look good. You got the cuts in the arms. They can't see it, but you got the little 6-pack coming on, a little 5.5-pack. I see it. And you look good, girl. She's been eating right. She's been exercising. We go to the gym 5 times a week, and it's been great. And other people see her progress, and they want to ask her, and they only ask her 2 questions. Every time they see her progress, they go, tell me what to eat and tell me what to do. What do you want to eat, and what do I eat, and what's the workout routine? And she is always telling me, she's always telling them, she goes, it's not about, here's the book that I'm reading. But they don't want the book, because they're like, if I had time to read a book, I would read the book. But I need you to tell me what to do, what to eat, what to work out. And she's telling them, but if I don't give you the book, then you won't have the why you're doing what you're doing. You won't have the beliefs underneath to support the behavior that you want to create. You need to create beliefs to support behavior. And if you don't have the time to ask why now, then in the middle of your workout, when it gets hard, guess what you'll be asking? So when the weight gets hard, you're going to be like, oh, why am I even doing this in the first place? And that's why so many people quit, because they don't have the beliefs to support the behavior. I think that's why a lot of people who grew up in church leave church, because church was handed down to them like a workout routine. If you do this, you'll grow biceps. If you do this, you'll get stronger. But no one took the time to teach us why. And so when we get out in the world and the world offers us a bunch of other things, we go, yeah, that makes sense. Let me jump into that. Why not? Take time to establish your beliefs. You need to learn why. So many people quit things because they don't have why. You go to your New Year's resolutions, the ones that you no longer do are the ones that never had a good why. They had good what? What you wanted to accomplish, what you wanted to see in your life. People quit and never arrive at their goal, because they never ask why. You got to get that foundation going before you can keep growing. And I'll tell you, there are some threats, because a lot of people are like, you know what, I don't know about this whole Bible thing, and because you ran into somebody like my grandma who taught you something crazy about the Bible. And you're like, I don't know if I can believe this book because I heard something crazy. And I want to tell you there are 2 threats to your Bible study. And one most definitely is false teaching, for sure. And you got to be wary about it, and I'll talk about false teaching probably on week 4, and we'll get into that. You got to be careful about it. But I'm not really worried about false teaching, because if you study your Bible, you'll be able to identify it. Here's what I'm really worried about. Not false teaching, I'm worried about false learning. Y'all ever heard of false learning? False learning is like false working out. It's like when you go to the gym, you curl 1 dumbbell, and you come home. And then people ask you, what'd you do? You say, I worked out. Because you were around it, because you lightly lifted it, you claimed it. But if you don't engage in it, it can't do what it's designed to do in your life. Being around it is not enough. You got to engage it. It's like false learning. I would say education without application is like learning in your imagination. You just pretend it's like when you spend all that money to watch a master class. Anybody else do the master class thing? You can see the YouTube ads for that. I loved it. I was like, oh, I want to become a master. A master. It's 10 videos, 8 minutes. I watched 1 video. I'm like, I'm a master. I'm going to teach the next master class. Being around it, being able to recite it, isn't what allows it to enter into your life and change you. This is what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 through 29. These words I speak to you are not incidental additions to your life. homeowner improvements to your standard of living. They are foundational words, words to build a life on. If you work these words into your life, you are like a smart carpenter who built his house on solid rock. I love the example of solid rock because back then in construction, you had to dig and dig and dig until your shovel hit something hard. That was the bedrock. Once you found the bedrock, then you can build your house. In other words, it's not enough to be around the Bible. You got to dig into the Bible until you find something you can build your life on. Rain poured down, the river flooded, a tornado hit, but nothing moved that house. It was fixed to the rock. But if you just use my words in Bible studies, don't come at me like that, Bible. If you just use my words in Bible studies, if you just use them to preach, but you don't actually work them into your life, you are like a stupid carpenter who built his house on the sandy beach. When a storm rolled in and the waves came up, it collapsed like a house of cards. And when Jesus concluded his address, the crowd burst into applause. That was the best teaching they had ever heard. The Bible can change absolutely everything in your life, but not just by being around it, not just by hearing it. You need to engage the Bible in certain ways, and I'm going to give you 3 ways to engage the Bible so that it can change everything in your life. So if you're taking notes, you can write this down. The Bible changes everything when you trust it. It's not enough you got to trust it. I'm going to give you the name of somebody who you would not know, but he was very formative in my life. His name is Dr. Robert Kawashima. Dr. Kawashima was my Old Testament professor. And he was the smartest guy you would ever meet when it came to the Bible. He didn't need, if I want to know what a word is in the original Hebrew, even though it's in English, I got to go online, I got to type in the word, I got to go to this thing called the concordance. And Dr. Kawashima, you would tell him the verse, he would kind of remember the verse in his brain and be like, oh, that's what that word means, like that. Smart dude, taught me so much about the Old Testament. One other little detail about his life I should probably mention, he was also an atheist. I remember talking to him in his office one day, and I asked him, I said, Dr. Kawashima, you got to explain to me, you spent 30 years studying this book. Why would you study it if you don't believe it? He told me this, I'll never forget. He said, JJ, because there's no book like it in the entire world. There's a difference between knowing it and trusting it. He knew it better than any of us and all of us combined, but he did not trust it. You look at these bricks, you can do a lot with these bricks, but you can't do a lot with these bricks. You can build with them, you can make, but you can't do a lot with it if you don't trust to put your weight on it. If you don't trust it to build with it, if you don't trust to rest on it, it's just ornamental. Until you can trust the Bible, until you can put your weight on the Bible, it will not have the impact in your life that it was designed to have. And so what I want to do right now is I'm going to give you some facts, some scientific facts. So this part is going to feel a little bit like a class and less like a preaching, but you need to hear this. I'm going to take a break from preaching. I'm going to go to teaching for just a second. I'm going to give you some facts, science. I'm going to give you science for why you can trust the Bible. And then after I give you science for why you can trust the Bible, I'm then going to tell you why none of that matters. I'm going to go to 3 fields of academia. The first field of academia I'm going to jump in is history. The Bible is and contains a lot of history. And right there, you should feel a lot of peace because most history is written by one person. Most historians, one person. The Quran, written by one person. It's someone's one perspective. And then when you listen to their one perspective, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt because you don't know if they're biased. You don't know if they're poor, if they're rich, how they see the world in a certain way. The Bible does not have one author. The Bible was written by 40 authors across the span of thousands of years, and they all tell the same story. The Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are not one man's first experience, eyewitness account of Jesus coming out of the grave. They're 4 different peoples who said, I saw it. Even the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were the enemies of Jesus, couldn't deny that the tomb was empty. They just came up with a different reason for why it was empty. Nobody could deny that. They saw the tomb was empty. They were just like, somebody stole the body. No historian, even Sir William Ramsay, early 1900s, Sir William Ramsay was a well-known archaeologist in the Middle East, one of the greatest historians on the Middle East, did not believe in the Bible. He'd often make fun of it in his writings. He said this about the book of Acts and Luke, its author. He said, the book of Acts is a highly imaginative and carefully colored account of primitive Christianity. In essence of my knowledge in history, I have no respect for Luke as a historian. This is the one who wrote the book of Acts and wrote the book of Luke, you guessed it. He went to the Middle East to live for a couple of years to prove the Bible wrong. After many years in the Middle East, he comes back and he writes a book called Luke, the Beloved Doctor. In it, Sir William Ramsay says this: after looking carefully at the evidence, I take the view that Luke's history is unsurpassed in its trustworthiness. You may press the words of Luke in a degree beyond any historian, and they will stand the keenest scrutiny and the harshest treatment. The history of the Bible is never doubted. It's been proven over and over and over again. If Jesus is the Son of God, well, that's for you to decide. But was he a person? No historian doubts that. Let's jump from history to medicine. Obviously, if we're going to talk medicine, it should be something you can trust. Did you know that the Bible gives medicine advice, and that the medicine advice that the Bible gives is thousands of years ahead over medicine advice that we have believed over thousands of years of human history and evolution? Like way ahead of it. As early as 200 years ago, there was a process called bloodletting, where if you were sick, you wouldn't take medicine. There was no medicine that could heal you. What you would do is actually cut open, and you would let blood come out of your body. And the ideas in the doctors was that if you cut yourself, blood will leave your body, and so will the sickness. This is actually how George Washington died, your first president. He was sick, nobody can heal him, and they cut him open so he could bleed out. He lost 40% of his blood. This wasn't like ancient times. This is like GW, bro. GW. Died because of the advancements in science. Had only they had listened to Leviticus 17:11, centuries before, thousands of years before, medical advice. Here's one of the medical advice. The life of flesh is in the blood. Never let it out. If they had listened, they'd have been safe. How about washing your hands? We're a big washing your hands community now. Thank you, COVID. Some of y'all, that was the first time you've ever washed your hands. You're like, COVID, I'm going to just try this out. I've been seeing people do it I just never jumped in on it. Did you know that washing his hands at one time was actually criticized by a doctor named Semmelweis? He was in charge of where the women give birth to babies. The doctors would come and deliver the babies, and then when they would deliver them, the babies would die and the mothers would die. They would die from an infection. And the doctor Semmelweis started doing some research, and he found out that the same doctors that were giving birth, that were helping the mothers give birth and touching the babies, were the same doctors that were coming from the morgue. They were touching the dead body, the cadavers, then going to the birthing room, touching the babies and the mothers, and they were dying at crazy rates. Semmelweis said, I know this is crazy, but what if we washed our hands after the body into the mother's body? What if we did that? And the doctors fought him on it. He almost lost his medical license. You know what the argument was? It takes too much time. Which is exactly why you don't wash your hands either before you die. You know it. You're like, I could die, but it takes too much time. It takes too much time. It's just I don't want to invest that much time into that. I'll leave the soap for the other people. And, when he instituted hand washing, mortality went down by 90%. 90%. If only they had heard Numbers 19. In Numbers 19, Moses said this: every time you touch a dead body, wash your hands. Thousands of years before it was ever medical practice, it was always Hebrew practice in the Bible. Let's jump from medicine to astronomy. How many people like stars and all that? I like stars. I don't worship them, but I like them. Don't ask me if I'm a Capricorn or a Leviticus or whatever. I don't know what those things are. Sagittarius, I don't know, but like somebody, you're a Cancer. I'm like, no, I don't like Cancer. I don't want that. But let me tell you something about astronomy. It wasn't too long ago that people thought the world was flat. Y'all, there are people who still think the world is flat. Like, it's 2021. People are like, yo, the world's flat. Nah, man. If only they had listened to Isaiah, who thousands of years before Copernicus, thousands of years before Da Vinci, look what he said in 40:22, Isaiah 40:22. It is he who sits above the circle. Circle in the word Hebrew means sphere. Sphere of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers. You want to talk about scientifically evident, you can trust your Bible. Before science could prove it, the Holy Spirit inspired it. How about the fact that the world just, like the earth just floats in space? Like we take for granted that that's what the earth does. But you know that all of the greatest civilizations in life created theories for why the earth stays in space? All of them. I'm gonna give you some of them really quickly. The ancient Egyptians, one of the smartest cultures ever, the ancient Egyptians believed and taught that the earth was supported by 5 marble pillars. The Greeks believed that earth sat on Atlas's soldiers. The Hindus, very smart, believed that the earth sat on the back of elephants, and that elephant stood on a turtle, and that turtle stood on a snake. Smoke that. Here's what Job said in Job is the first book of the Bible ever written. I know it doesn't come first in your Bible, but Bible trivia. First Bible book ever written, Job. In the first book of the Bible, look what Job says. He spreads out the northern skies over the empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. Job called it thousands and thousands of years before any civilization could prove it. Your Bible has scientifically stood up to the test of time. Those are 3 academic. Now I'm going to give you a bonus category. I'm going to talk about the category of prophetic. You got historical, you got medical, you got astronomical, and now I'm going to give you the prophetical. That's not a word, but I liked it, prophetical. Daniel, the prophet Daniel in the book of Daniel, while the Babylonian Empire was ruling, Nebuchadnezzar, all that stuff. Well, maybe you don't, but Nebuchadnezzar was his name, and they were ruling the whole world. Daniel prophesied, he said, this empire is going to go for a little while, and then there's another empire that's going to come up. It's going to be the Medes and the Persians. After that, then it's going to be the Greeks, Alexander the Great. And then after Alexander the Great, it's going to be the Romans, Caesar. He prophesied that those empires, before Greece was even significant on the global scale, before Rome, Italy was significant, he called it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before it happened. Called it. Now I want you to remember that because I brought up this question with my professor and you're going to be interested in his answer. And it happened, by the way, in case you don't know your world history, it happened just like that. He even said in his prophecy that the Greek Empire would divide into 4 regions. And as soon as Alexander the Great died, he divided his empire between 4 generals. Hundreds of years before it happened. Now let's shift from Old Testament prophecy to New Testament prophecy. Let's just talk about Jesus. There are 300 prophecies about Jesus. He fulfills every single one of them in the Bible. One day a mathematician, this was his name, this is a real deal thing. A mathematician named Peter Stoner. Don't judge him. Don't judge him based on his name. This is probably when I wonder if we took, anyway. Peter Stoner, what he did was he said, what if we just take 8 prophecies? What would be the probability of one person fulfilling 8 prophecies? So he picked just 8, where he would be born. The Bible said he'd be born in Bethlehem. When he would be born. Did you know the Bible prophesies the year Jesus would be born? Hundreds of years before it happened, he was born that year? You didn't know that. It prophesied how he would die via crucifixion. It prophesied where he would be buried in a rich man's tomb. I just gave you 4. He gives 8. He goes, just 8. 8 out of the 300. What would be the odds? He goes, the odds would be 1 in 10 to the 17th power. There's no name for that number, in case you're wondering. 1 to the 7th, that's 1 with 17 zeros. 10 with 17 zeros. It's just, or 1 with 17 zeros. You can't have it. It's just huge, a huge number. To give you an idea, an illustration of how big that number is, that would be equivalent to covering the whole state of Texas in silver dollars, 2 feet high, marking one of those silver dollars, dropping it in the middle of Texas, blindfolding a person, having them walk across Texas. He digs his hand into 2 feet of silver dollar and pulls out the 1 silver dollar. Those are the odds of one person fulfilling just 8 of the 300 prophecies that Jesus Christ himself fulfills in scriptures. This is why Peter said in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 16, you think I made this up? You can't make this up. For we did not follow cleverly devised myths when we were made known to you the power and coming of our Lord and Jesus Christ. But we were what? Eyewitnesses. We didn't make this up, and nobody made this up, and I believed it because they made this up. I saw this. I put my hand through the hole. I saw it. I seen him. I hugged him. He made fish for me. One day, I was with him. I saw it. And by the way, look at verse 20. no prophecy of Scripture, nothing in the Bible comes from a person's own interpretation. Verse 21, but the Bible, no prophecy, it was never produced by the will of man, but it was produced when spoke from God, carried along by the Holy Spirit. You can trust your Bible. Now, y'all, that's just science. Are you ready for this? Now I'm going to tell you why none of that matters. Because when you go to court, both the prosecutor and the defendant provide evidence, but all that matters is the verdict of the jury. So I can present evidence, but my evidence can't convince you. You got to be able to come to your own verdict. Remember I told you the prophecy of Daniel? I told my professor, Dr. Kawashima, I said, you got to talk to me about this, Dr. Kawashima. Come on. I feel like I had him in a corner because I had just learned about that Daniel prophecy thing. So I was like, what's up? Talk to me. Daniel, empires. He goes, JJ, I'm so glad you asked because I wrestled with that so much as well. I said, well, what's the answer? He goes, there's only one answer. I was like, oh, I'm about to save my professor right here. I'm going to preach about this. He goes, the only answer is that the book of Daniel was written after it all happened. When Daniel writes it in the first person, he writes it like he's living in it. But because he won't believe in the prophetic, he can't believe in the Bible. Here's what I've learned. It's not what you believe. It's what you want to believe. Because more important than the facts that we hear are the stories we believe. We can all have the same facts and come up with different stories. If you don't believe it, watch CNN and Fox News. They got the same facts, two totally different stories. Stock market is doing great right now. You turn on one of those news stations, they can be like, stock market's crushing it because of the last president. You go on to the other news station, they'll be like, stock market's crushing it. This president's doing such a great job. Same facts, different story. It's not what you believe, it's what do you want to believe? At some point, you're going to, listen, if I went back in time and got video evidence of Jesus Christ coming out of the tomb, video evidence, you know what some of y'all would say? Photoshop. Photoshop, you photoshopped it. If you were there in person, in front of the tomb, when you came out, you'd be like, I had too much to drink last night. I can't right now. I can't possibly believe it. Because you will only believe what you want to believe. Here's my point about trusting. It's not what you trust or what you believe. It's what you choose to trust in. And listen, just like everything else in your life. Just like everything else in your life. When you lock your door at night and go to sleep, you choose to trust that lock will keep out intruders. But you never tested it. You never been on the outside. One good push. You just choose to trust it. When you get in your car 20 minutes before work, hoping you make it to work on time, you are choosing to trust that your car will turn on. When you go to the store and you put on a mask, and this is not pro-mask, anti-mask. I just say that at the beginning. I wear a mask. We have masks here. I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying when you put it on, you are choosing to trust that paper is going to keep it out. You choose it. I choose to trust it too. I choose to trust you, but we're all choosing. When you give your baby formula that you never tasted, that you never brought through a lab yourself, you just bought it from Walmart, you put some water in it, and you gave it away, you're choosing to trust that this formula is going to feed your baby and not kill her. When you go to bed at night, you choose to trust that your lungs will keep breathing. It's why you have rest. It's why you don't freak out. I mean, I don't know how to make it. Okay, but I'm not doing this at night anymore. I'm choosing to trust that when I go to sleep, you'll keep doing what you do. Because I was a skeptic, I became skeptical about the Bible because I realized that it would require faith to step out. But then I realized that should not make me foolish because I choose to step out and trust something. Because if you're human, you have to choose to trust everything. So that brings me to my thesis. It's not what you believe, it's what you choose. And I want to encourage you today to choose to trust the Bible. Because when you choose, let me just grab it. When you choose to trust the Bible, your need for evidence will evolve. And like, this got holes in it, so I'm like trying to be super wise about this. When you choose to trust the Bible and you stand on it, something awesome happens. It doesn't break. In other words, your need for evidence is replaced by the evidence of experience. I choose to trust it in the beginning, but then I put my weight on it, and it was there for me when I needed it. This is why you cannot convince me that God is not real and this book is not real, because I put my weight on it in the toughest times of my life, and it was there for me when I needed it. When I felt broken, when I felt defeated, I put my trust on it, and it was there for me when I needed it. When my son passed away, it was there when I needed it. When I ran out of money, it was there for me when I needed it. I've tested the word of God. It has lasted time in my life. It has passed the test of time. It will pass the test of time in your life. Let me just encourage you. That's why we say we want to make Jesus accessible to anyone at Journey Church, because we know if you just step on it, you won't need evidence anymore, because now you got experience, and the man with experience is never at the mercy of a man with evidence. You can prove whatever you want to prove to me, but I know I was blind and now I see. I was deaf and now I hear. I was dead and I was alive. I've got evidence. No, this thing works. This works. This works. So you can trust it. And once you can trust it, you can build on it. When you engage in the Bible changes everything. Not just when you trust it, but the Bible changes everything when you build on it. You got to build on it. And this is what it's for, you know? It's for building. It's for making. But a lot of people think the Bible is just a rule book. And I get why you think that. You think the Bible is just a rule book because the Bible has rules. But that would be like thinking that this brick is made for working out just because it has holes. You'd be like, okay, this guy. Some are like, oh, these Bible rules, man. They're heavy. All these rules that carrying this Bible. I can't have sex before marriage. That sucks. This is heavy. Well, the Bible says I can't drink alcohol. Well, first of all, the Bible doesn't say you can't drink alcohol. It says you can't get drunk. But you're like, well, the only reason I drink is to get drunk. And so this is not good. I don't like this. Is heavy. And if I wanted to not get drunk, I'd drink Coke. But, you know, this is what I'm drinking. And this is so heavy. And living this life is so crazy. And I'm carrying this. And you don't understand that the Bible was not meant to be carried like this. Jesus carried the cross so you didn't have to carry the concrete. He fulfills the law so that you and I, this is why he came, because the law was too heavy to carry. The law was too heavy to carry, so he carried it for us. The Bible is not meant to be carried. The Bible is meant to carry you. It's what you build with. The Bible is not a block of burden, it's a basis of blessing. It's what you build on to have the best. I word it like this. The Bible is not designed so that having a life is impossible. It's designed so that you can have the best life possible. Those rules are not there to destroy you. They're to help you have the best life possible. And so how many people want to build a life? Say amen. So I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. And what do I mean by life? Let's break it down into categories. What if you want to build a career? Well, if you want to build a career, here's a great way, because this is exactly how it works in life. If you want to build a career, here's a great one to build a career on. Colossians 3:23. I love that. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. So when I'm at my place of business and it's getting hard because I don't like my client because he's a jerk, or I don't like my boss because he's been real tough with me, I remember, you know what? I'm not even working for this person. Who I'm really working for is for God. That'll give you the right attitude to excel in your career. Now you can build a career on God's word. Here's another one for a career. This one really saved me a bunch of times. Here we go. This is a good one if you want to build. You want to build. Luke 16:10. Oh, that's a good one. If you are faithful in the little things, you will be faithful in the large ones. I love this one. This helps me build. Listen, I'm in ministry today. This Journey Church is built because I lived my life by Luke 16:10. I went to my old stomping ground. It was an old church in Gainesville, and I got to preach there on Friday for the first time in 11 years. And as I was walking through, I saw this old bathroom, and I had so many memories in that bathroom. And not because of what you think. I served on the custodial team. And I went into the bathroom, and I saw it, and I remember when I was teaching the interns how to clean the bathrooms too, I said, this is how we clean it. We wipe the seats, we get in there, and then I said, and what we do is we take a little napkin, little thing, and we're going to clean behind the toilet. You know that quarter inch behind the toilet on the wall? I said, we're going to get behind there. He told me, he said, but JJ, no one sees. No one looks behind the toilet. I told him, someone does. So God looks behind the toilet. Hey, That's your next tattoo. You're welcome. Right there. God looks behind the toilet. And that might sound silly to you, but cleaning behind that toilet instilled the kind of work ethic in my life that would help build this church. Because I realized I don't care if you see it or not. I'm going to do it because I know that if I do it in the little things, then God could do it in the big. And if I'm faithful with the little, he'll be faithful to continue to bring me to the big things. How about anybody want to build a healthy marriage? All right, well, here's a good one. If you want to build a healthy marriage, this is a good one to build on. This is just for the guys, because I'm a guy. Ephesians 5:25. It's a good one to build. For husbands, this means love your wives. Now, I love that it defines what love means, because I'm like, I love my wife, we have sex, yay. But the Bible doesn't let you get away with sex as the definition for love. Here's the definition of love: just as Christ loved the church. Oh, and he died for her. So now, and ladies, before you get all hyped up, there's a 1 in 24. This one. It says, wives, if you love your husbands, submit to them. But anyway, we're going to lose members today. But if I want a healthy marriage, I'm just preaching to me. This is just me. When my wife tells me to do something and I don't feel like doing it, I'm reminded that's the point of love. I got to do some things that feel like they're hurting me. I feel like so many guys, when I got inside my marriage, I felt like I was giving up who I was. I was giving up being single. I was giving up this. I was giving up that. And I'm like, yeah, bro, that's love. We die to ourselves so that we can help her become the best person that God's called her to be. It's the way Jesus loves the church. So love is sacrifice and surrender. That'll help you. That'll help you a lot. How about building a community? This is a good one, because we live in a world right now that's got racial divisions and political divisions and TikTok and Instagram divisions and Kim and Kanye divisions. And this is what will save all of society. Are you ready? Matthew 7:12. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. Y'all want to build a great country? Y'all want to make America great again? Here's how you do it. Treat other people like you would treat yourself. That's how you do it. If Democrats would treat Republicans like Democrats, this world would be a better place. If Republicans would treat Democrats like Republicans, this world would be a better place. If white people treated black people like white people, this world would be a better place. If black people treated white people like black people, this world would be a better place. If Puerto Ricans treated Dominicans like Puerto Ricans, I'm just playing. That's a Spanish people joke. That's a Spanish people joke. All the white people are like, I don't understand it. Listen to me, white people. There's some beef between Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. I don't get it. Anyway, so we just need to, hey, come back to the Bible. Listen to me. Jesus gave us the blueprint for creating utopia. Treat other people like you would treat yourself. If we just did that, this world would be such a better place. How about wealth? Anybody want to build wealth? Yeah, it's okay to make noise for wealth. Some of y'all are like, I don't know if God wants you. Yes, it's okay. Here's a good one for building wealth. Are you ready? Proverbs 11:24-25. One gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. In other words, you want to build wealth, generational wealth for your family? Begin by being generous. That's how you become wealthy. Well, I thought in order to become wealthy, I got to get an IRA, a 403B. I got to start buying a home. I start to get refinance to get to the lower interest rates. I got to put away in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. If you want to build generational wealth, be generous. There's more than that. Malachi 3:10. Malachi 3:10 says it too. Malachi 3:10. This is the one that talks about being generous with God. Test me in this. This is the tithe, giving out 10% of your income. Test me in this and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there won't be enough room to store it. I have lived that out. Let me tell you, it's true. And there's another one as well, Luke 6:38. I'm just giving you the ones with money because I know this is the one that your heart struggles with the most. Give and it will be given to you. Bible says if you want to build wealth for your life, generational wealth, be generous. And this last one is the one that really got me. Because I'm a dad now. And all I want to do is build a family. I want to build my kids up, you know. I want Justice and Zane to be like solid and to have it all. And one of the challenges of being a father, I didn't know this as a parent, is like you want everything for your kid. Like you want them to be smart, so you got to put them in the tutors thing. You want them to be strong, so you put them in sports. You want them to be musically gifted, so you know YouTube piano lessons and buy them a little $20 Casio piano with 8 keys on it, and just, and then you want them to be healthy emotionally, so like you start investing in a therapist. And there's so many things you can do for your child that honestly it gets overwhelming, but I want my child to have everything. This is the one that helps me. Matthew 6:33. Seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and he will give you everything that you need. So in other words, I hope to pass down an inheritance to my children, and I hope to pass down a college degree to my children. But if there's one thing I hope to pass down to my children, it is a relationship with Jesus, because I know that if they get a relationship with Jesus, everything will come through the relationship with Jesus. Their spouse will come through a relationship with Jesus. Their finances will be secure if they have a relationship with Jesus. Their mental health will be fortified through a relationship with Jesus. Their physical health will be secured through a relationship with Jesus. Their careers will be built through a relationship with Jesus. I believe that if you give your kids Jesus, you do give them everything. So I'm going to build my life on that right there. That's it. And that means you have to start raising them differently too. That means I know that the games are happening on Sunday, but I'd rather have now Jesus than a D1 scholarship. If you can't make it on Sundays, we got youth nights on Wednesdays and Fridays. Figure out a way to get them connected and involved, because if you give them Jesus, you give them everything. You got to build on it. And here's my last one. The Bible isn't there just to build on it. When it changes you when you trust in it. It changes you when you build on it. Here's my final one. And it changes everything when you hide in it. Hide in it. Hide in it. You come out worship team. Hide in it. I want to show you a funny picture I found on my Instagram. It's an old picture. This is a photo I took of Liz in the middle of a tornado. We had a tornado warning in our area. We were hanging out, and it went automatically from like hanging out to like scared. And I wrote, she was not happy with me. Here's the caption, tornado warning. This is our old house. Liz cleared out the closet. She's so prepared. I want to take my son out, though, so he could see it. She was not happy. We just had Justice at this point. Hey, by the way, shout out to Pastor Joey, real one, 8 years ago, liking photos. Come on, y'all. We've been friends for a while. Go ahead, you can take it down. She was so scared when that tornado hit. She was in there. She's like, you can do what you want. I'll find another husband if you die. I'm good. I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna just chill in here. And she was smart, because she found the most secure room in the house. She knew that if the tornado hit, that the windows would fall. She knew the doors would collapse. She knew that the sheetrock would fall under itself. She knew that the 2x4s would snap. But she knew that the closet that was 100% surrounded by cinder block, she knew that if a tornado hit, that would last. Kind of like Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words, Jesus said, will never pass away. There is no storm life can throw at you that will undo God's word. There is no tragedy that can hit you that can break one of God's promises. There is no heartbreak you can experience that can break God's word. There's nothing in life that can shake this foundation. It is true all the way. Now, how do you hide in God's word? When things get crazy, you hide in God's word by learning to hide God's word in your heart. Psalms 119:11. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. I love that scripture because it teaches me both about the heart and both about the hidden things. Because you can see my hands, you can see my eyes, but my heart is one organ that is hidden inside of me. And this is an interesting thing about the heart. I don't will it to beat. I'm not like, do-dum, do it, do-dum, do. I get a little nervous, it'll beat faster. I get a little tired, it'll beat slower. But I don't force it to beat. It beats reflexively. This is what it means to hide God's word in your heart, that it lives out through your life reflexively. That when something happens, you just, because it's so in you, you don't think about applying it. You just run to it. It's a reflex. I remember there was this kid in class. I wasn't really a bully, but I hung out with some bullies. And there was this one kid in class who practiced karate. And this other kid, who was the big leader of our little group, he tried to bully the other kid. And when he went and like a reflex, homeboy got roundhouse like across the cafeteria. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's a reflex. When I'm in danger, do you know where to run when you get in danger? Do you know where to hide? I'm gonna just be preaching to myself. I was emotional just preaching this to myself at home because I'm gonna share with you some of the places I hide when things get hard. You know, being a pastor, you don't make a lot of money. And there were a whole year when I didn't have a salary. My kids didn't have health insurance. Liz didn't have insurance, and we would get sick, and we'd have to go to the doctor, and we would have to pray to God that there would be some kind of check in the mail. We would have to go out and preach somewhere. And in those moments when I didn't know where the money was going to come from, let me show you where I ran. I ran to Philippians 4:19. And my God will supply every need according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. And Liz would just look at me and she'd be like, "Do we have enough money to pay for this bill?" I'm like, I don't know. But if you want, you can come hide where I'm hiding. I'm hiding right here. My God can supply all my needs according to his riches in glory. Here's another one. This one I go to a lot. Whenever life doesn't make sense to me, whenever there's a tragedy that rocks me in my life, whenever the sound goes out in the middle of a service and I'm like, "But come on, we're preaching the gospel. I don't understand." Whenever someone in my life gets sick or whenever a deal that we were going to get got shut down. You don't know how many places we tried to get before OLE. That didn't happen. I ran to this every time they told us that we didn't have enough money to get a building. Every time they told us that we didn't have the resources or the training. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. I love running here because you know why I run here? It doesn't say that all things are good. It gives me a place to hide when bad things come in, because I'm able to look at bad things and go, it might be bad, but I believe that even the bad things work together for good. I believe it. I'm hiding it. This next one is the one that I run to at funerals. And I have been doing a lot of them and been attending a lot of viewings and since this whole thing started. And then now I'll be there and I'm the pastor, so everybody's got questions. Need a hand help. Is it back on? It's back on. And I'm at the funeral, and the husband will come up to me. Hey, I don't understand, Pastor. She was 30 years old. She loved God. She prayed, she worshiped. It's not fair. Why did God allow this to happen? It's not fair. I don't got answers. You think I got answers? Don't ever come to me for answers. I said, bro, I don't know. I don't understand. There's a lot of other people who could have. She was a gem. I don't know, but I can't give you the answer, but I can show you where I hide. Would you like to see where I hide? 1 Thessalonians 4:13 is where I hide. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again. And so we believe that God will bring with Jesus, all those who are buried, all those who lay on the ground, they will one again, rise again. They will fall asleep, but they will rise again with him. I'm telling you, I don't know what good things happen to bad people. I don't know why God took her, but I believe this is where I hide, that one day we'll see her again, that one day we'll hug her again, that one day we'll love her again. I'm hiding right here. This is where I hide when I'm tired of living on earth, because life is so hard. I run to Revelation chapter 21. Revelation 21:34, when I don't know where to go, this is where I hide. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. He will wipe every tear from their eye. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things have passed away. When I feel like God's forgotten me and nothing is working in my favor, this is the good one. A lot of y'all run here. I run. Whenever I feel like I don't understand where I'm going, I don't understand, it's all falling apart, this is not where I thought I'd be in life right now, I run to Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. When I'm tired and exhausted and I don't know where to go and I just ran out of energy because I've been preaching for so long and I'm just tired. I don't know if I have more to give to you anymore. I run to Isaiah 40:31 where it says this. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. And some days, I'm just honest, I wrestle with this book like a lot of y'all are wrestling today. Because I see these promises. And I'm like, but where are these promises at in my life? I've been following you for a long time, Jesus. When are you going to bring this into completion? And right here at the corner, it's Joshua 21:43-44. The Israelites just made their way through the desert. They fought all of the enemies. God had been prophesying victory, but for years they didn't experience it. Thus the Lord gave to Israel. This is at the end of their desert journey when they wiped out all the nations from the promised land, that the land he swore to give to their fathers, not one of all their enemies had withstood them. Here's verse 45. And not one word not one word of all the good promises that the Lord made to the house of Israel failed. Every single one of them came to pass. I want to tell you today that if God made a promise over your life and you haven't experienced it yet, just wait a little while, because every single promise will come to pass. If God said it, he's going to do it. If he promised it, he's going to make it happen. He's faithful. You can stand on God's word today. You can stand on God's word. You can stand on God's word. All over this building, would you stand? You can stand on God's word. You can stand on God's word. I want to do two prayers right now. One is for the person who is living in between the promise. You haven't seen God move in your life and you need a place to hide. Oh, his promises come to fruition in your life. This is for you right now. God says something over your life. You don't see it yet. I'm talking about, listen, just hide here. This is you today. Life is throwing its curves at me. I'm not sure. This is your hiding place right here, God's word. I'm just going to hide here. I'm just going to hide here. I'm just going to hide here. If that's you right now, I want you to close your eyes. Lift up your hands if you feel comfortable. And begin to lift up your voice to God and just tell him, God, I'm running to you. God, I'm running to you. God, I'm running to you. I'm running to you. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure where the next step should be. I'm confused because this is not where I thought I would be. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put all that to the side and I'm going to run to your word. I'm going to hide in the Bible. I'm going to hide in the promises. I believe it can support me. It can support the weight of my stress. It can support the weight of my anxiety. It can support my doubts and my fears. It can support my weakness. It can support my poverty. It can support my debt. And so I'm hiding in you right now. If that's that's you, lift up your voice to God. Just tell him, I'm hiding in you, I'm hiding in you, I'm hiding in your word. If you said it, you'll do it. If you promised it, you'll make it happen. If you made a promise, you'll make a way. If you made the promise, you'll make a way. If you made the promise, you'll make a way. Come on, there's something God told you years ago, and you started to let go of that promise. If you made a promise, he'll make a way. If you made a promise, he'll make a way. Hold on to his promise. Hold on to his promise. I'm hiding in your word. I'm hiding in your word. I'm hiding in your word. Hiding in your word. One more prayer is for those who are far away from God today. You don't have a relationship with Jesus. Let me give you one promise that I hold fast to. If we confess our sins, God is faithful to forgive. That's a promise. And if you're in this room today and you're overwhelmed with guilt, you're overwhelmed with the past that you wish you could erase, I want to let you know that Jesus is here today, giving you a place and an opportunity to stand on him. Would you stand on him today? Every head bowed, every eye closed. If you want to receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior, on the count of 3, what does that mean? That means you're willing to trust him, build on him, and hide in him. You don't have a relationship with Jesus, but you're willing to trust in him, build on him, and hide in him. If that's you, when I say 3, raise your right hand to the sky. Jesus, I need you all over this building. 1, here's your chance. Run to Jesus. 2, this is your place to hide. He is your hiding place. The name of the Lord is my strong tower. I run to in my moments of refuge. If it's you on 3, 1, 2, 3. Right now, hands high, all over this building. I need Jesus. I need Jesus in my life. I need Jesus in my life. Come on, I see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If that's you, I want you to pray this prayer with me. Everybody, right now. Jesus, I trust in your word. I'm ready to build on your word. And I'm ready to hide in your word. Today, I stand on you. Forgive me for my past. Prepare me for my future. I place my trust in your word. Amen and amen. Come on, give it up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't let the journey stop here. We'd love for you to do one of 3 things. Either subscribe, share, or support. If this ministry blessed you at all, subscribe so that you can find out when the next video comes out. Share it with a friend. You never know what the people closest to you are going through. Or you can choose to support us financially, which helps bring these videos to people like you. Thank you so much for your time.